Hola y bienvenido.
Hello and welcome to the 9th lesson of The Spanish Tutor. In today's lesson, we will be introducing verbs in Spanish. Let's firstly talk about infinitive verbs. In English, these are verbs that are to followed by the action. For example, to say or to do. Essentially, these are verbs that are generic, i.e. they don't have a person attached to the action. In the Spanish language, infinitive verbs will always end in one of these three endings. So let's have a look at them now. They are haya, haya, and haya. Let's go through those one more time. Haya, haya, and haya. In Spanish, we also have to think about whether verbs are regular or irregular. Of course, this concept doesn't really exist in English, but it really matters in Spanish when we conjugate the verb, i.e. attach a person to the action. In this video, we'll only look at some regular verbs to keep things simple, and in the next few videos, we'll come across some common irregulars. Let's look at some regular infinitive verbs in Spanish now. To speak in Spanish is a regular haya verb. Hablar. One more time. To speak is hablar. To eat in Spanish is a regular haya verb. Comer. Let's say that one more time. To eat is comer. And finally, to live in Spanish is a regular haya verb. Vivir. One more time. To live, vivir. Now we need to ask ourselves, what about conjugation? What about when we want to say that a particular person does a particular action? Firstly, let's explore this in English. We can conjugate verbs into 6 different groups of people in English, and the same in Spanish. I, you, he, she or it, we, you plural, and they. Let's translate these 6 different groups of people into Spanish. The word for I in Spanish is yo. The word for you in Spanish is tú. The word for he in Spanish is él. And the word for she in Spanish is ella. The word for we in Spanish is nosotros. The word for you plural or you all in Spanish is vosotros. And finally, the word for they in Spanish is ellos. Now, if we want to say that we, you plural, or they are in the feminine form, i.e. we are all girls, you plural are all girls, or they are all girls, we simply change one letter. Nosotros becomes nosotras. Vosotros becomes vosotras. And finally, ellos becomes ellas. Let's now conjugate the 3 verbs we looked at earlier using these pronouns. For now, we'll just conjugate into the present tense, and we'll look at how to conjugate into different tenses in a few videos' time. The first step when we conjugate verbs into the present tense in Spanish is just to chop off the last 2 letters from the infinitive verb form. Let's start with hablar, to speak. First, we need to chop off the last 2 letters. Let's start. I speak in Spanish is yo hablo. One more time. I speak, yo hablo. Moving on to you speak. You speak in Spanish is tú hablas. Let's say that one more time. You speak, tú hablas. Now he or she speaks. This would be él or ella habla. One more time. Él or ella habla. Now we speak. This would be nosotros or nosotras hablamos. Repeat after me. We speak. Nosotros or nosotras hablamos. Now let's think about you plural speak or you all speak. This would be vosotros or vosotras habláis. One more time. You all speak. Vosotros or vosotras habláis. And finally, they speak. This is ellos or ellas hablan. Repeat after me. Ellos or ellas hablan. And that is how you conjugate a regular AR verb in the present tense. The endings are all listed on the right, and it's a good idea to memorize these. Let's now move on to comer, to eat. Once again, we do the same thing, chop off the last two letters. I eat in Spanish is yo como. One more time. I eat, yo como. Let's move on to you eat. This is tú comes. One more time. You eat, tú comes. Now let's think about he or she eats. In Spanish, this is él or ella come. One more time. Él or ella come. Moving on to we eat. This would be nosotros or nosotras comemos. One more time. We eat. Nosotros or nosotras comemos. Let's now think about you plural eat or you all eat. This would be vosotros or vosotras coméis. One more time. You all eat is vosotros or vosotras coméis. And finally, they eat. They eat in Spanish is ellos or ellas comen. Let's say that one more time. They eat in Spanish is ellos or ellas comen. And that is how you conjugate a regular ER verb in the present tense in Spanish. Once again, the endings are all listed on the right hand side, and it's a good idea to memorize these too. Finally, we'll move on to conjugating a regular IR verb in the present tense. Vivir, to live. And you guessed it, we're going to do the exact same thing and chop off the last two letters. I live is yo vivo. One more time. I live, yo vivo. Moving on to you live. This would be tú vives. Repeat after me. You live, tú vives. Let's now think about he or she lives. This is él or ella vive. Once again, he or she lives, él or ella vive. Moving on now to we live. This would be nosotros or nosotras vivimos. Let's say that one more time. We live is nosotros or nosotras vivimos. Now on to you all live or you plural live. This would be vosotros or vosotras vivís. Let's say that one more time. Vosotros or vosotras vivís. And finally, they live. This would be ellos or ellas viven. Let's say that one more time. They live, ellos or ellas viven. And that is how you conjugate a regular haya verb into the present tense in Spanish. The endings are all listed on the right hand side. And do make sure to memorize these too. And that concludes the video on the introduction to verbs in Spanish. I really hope you've all enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the Spanish Tutor YouTube channel, and turn on post notifications so you're notified every time I upload. Adios!